Good morning, Hank. How you doing?
Morning, Martin. I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well. Well, Hank, I'm trying to figure out, were you as surprised or did you have an inkling as much with the Layne Hatcher commitment as the rest of us, or did you know it was coming?
I was pretty surprised. Honestly, when I first got wind of it, I assumed it was a preferred walk-on offer. That's kind of usually the case at this point in the cycle. We knew Nick Saban was talking about wanting to add another scholarship quarterback, and obviously they had Gardner Minshew committed as well earlier in the spring as a graduate transfer. So it wasn't completely out of left field as far as adding another quarterback. I just hadn't really heard of Layne Hatcher's name up until Friday. So, a little bit surprised, but seems like a solid pickup. What surprises me with Layne Hatcher is how he was committed to Arkansas State, as everyone knows, but how he didn't really have a lot of other offers. And we talked to his coach yesterday to kind of get a little background on him. And he says he thinks it was his size that limited him. He's 6 feet, really good arm, just not that tall, not that kind of prototypical quarterback that you want, 6'3", 6'4". So he thinks that's what kind of held him back with some college recruiters. But really, really good arm, very accurate. He talked about his work ethic a lot. So I think overall it was a really good pickup for Alabama in terms of having a fourth scholarship quarterback for depth. And we'll see where it goes.
Well, is Nick Saban trying to revive or force everyone into looking at the future? I just drew a blank on his name for New Orleans.
Brees?
Drew Brees. Drew Brees. He fell in love with Drew Brees when he was at Miami. And now he has Tua, which Tua's 6 foot, maybe.
Right.
Talia is not quite 6 foot. And this kid, and, you're looking at this, I don't know, Ohio State even has the Tate Martell, who's another small guy. We just saw the Heisman Trophy winner. He's barely 6 foot. With this dual threat, are coaches going to look more at this accuracy type of thrower versus your prototypical and stop playing necessarily for what's best for the NFL and start playing for what's best for college?
I think that definitely has a lot to do with it. I mean, if you lack size, you have to make up with something else. And all these guys you just mentioned, and Talia, obviously, they just have incredible arm strength and can just really pass it well. And I think another thing with Layne Hatcher that his coach was telling us is, and he said he didn't want to speak for Nick Saban, but he said he thinks he really likes guys from winning programs. And this kid lost 1 game as a high school starter. He won 3 straight state championships. He's lost 2 games since 5th grade total. And he's a 4-time state champion in wrestling as well.
Oh, wow.
So this kid has a really winning attitude. He said in 26 years of coaching, and I'm not sure the competition Pulaski Academy plays, but they're a really good program in Arkansas. But he's been coaching for 26 years, and he said he's never had a harder working kid. So just goes to show everything this kid has to offer and kind of what Alabama saw in him when they decided to go ahead and offer.
All right. Hey, we're speaking with Hank South, 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting. We got Pat online for a question here, but I got to follow this up with Hudson Henry. He doesn't have anything to do with this, does he?
No, it's funny because I asked Layne when I talked to him about it on Friday, kind of what he was going to do, if he was going to try to recruit Hudson or what. And for those that don't know, Hudson Henry is the #1 tight end of the nation for 2019. He's also the younger brother of Hunter Henry, the former All-American tight end at Arkansas. But he said, I'm going to go over to his house tonight. I'm going to recruit him. I'm going to try to get him to come. And later on Friday, Hudson put out a top 5 that did not include Alabama. But I will say, I talked to the coach, Kevin Kelly, over at Pulaski Academy, and in his opinion, he thought if there was one team that could stay in the mix that wasn't in the top 5, it was Alabama. And he said the top 5 was kind of put together before he knew Layne Hatcher was even going to commit to Alabama. So maybe something happens there. Maybe we'll see. But I mean, a lot of people think he's just going to Arkansas because of his brother and his family all going to Arkansas. And then some people think Stanford's actually the team trending for him right now too. So we'll see. He visited in April He's close to Dan Enos, so maybe that eventually pays off for Alabama and they get back in the mix. But, yeah, just have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah, and, and that's another quick sidebar that Dan Enos was a guy from Arkansas. To us, Layne Hatcher may be a kid out of the blue. For Dan Enos, he may have seen in this kid the same thing everyone else was seeing in Talia at the high school rank. So hopefully the young man comes in and fights. It sounds like he's a competitor. But Hank, hold on. We're going to bring Pat in. Pat has a question for you. Welcome into the Blitz, Pat. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Hank. I want to talk about a big athlete over in the Carolinas, and I'm going to butcher his name, I'm guessing, but I'm saying Corvarus Crouch. And I want him. I'm understanding that he may want to play linebacker, but I'm wanting this guy as a running back. Hey, I watched film on him. I would compare him to Eric Dickerson. This guy runs straight up, but he's speed personified. Hey, and I told y'all about Onami back before Onami was ever even on the radar hardly. Hey, as being speed, hey, this guy is fast, and that I want to see what you think about him. Because either there's nobody in North Carolina that can run, or he was outrunning everybody by 10 yards. And I want to see what you think about him, Hank. Have a great day. And
what's that name?
Keep doing what you're doing.
What's that name one more time?
The guy's name is Corvarus Crouch. And I'm saying his name is Crouch. And that may be Conk. I don't know. But hey, this guy can run. I'm telling y'all. All right.
Oh, for sure.
Thanks, fellas. I'll hang up and listen.
Thanks, Pat.
Yeah, it's Corvarus Crouch. He's a really special athlete. He's a guy we've been talking about for a while. He's out of Charlotte, North Carolina. I believe we still have him rated as the number one athlete in the country. He's that build 6'3", I think 225. Just a freak athlete, can really do a lot of things. I got a chance to meet him in San Antonio at the U.S. Army Combine earlier in January. And back then, I really thought Alabama kind of held an edge for him, talking to him then. There's certain kids you meet in covering recruiting that you can just tell that's a Nick Saban kid. Like that's just the kind of kid that would thrive in his program. He kind of gets it with the work ethic and the mentality you need to go to Alabama. And so I really thought Alabama had a pretty good shot for him. I think the staff shuffle kind of not hurt Alabama, but kind of put him back a little bit compared to other teams like Clemson and South Carolina and those guys. Alabama is still absolutely in the mix for him, but I think just with the new staff changes, Josh Gaddis is now his recruiter, and he's doing a good job. Corvarus had a chance to talk to him. Nick Saban called Corvarus from the NFL draft, and like Pat mentioned, there is thought that he wants to play linebacker at the next level. Everyone was recruiting him as a running back, and then kind of changed course. He's kind of looking at more NFL longevity as far as not taking as many hits as a running back. He thinks he would have a better career as a linebacker. He would be an All-American at both, or he has the potential to be an All-American at either side. So we'll see what happens. He visited Tuscaloosa last summer and worked out, and really impressed the staff. And I would anticipate him trying to get back to Alabama this summer. Bama needs to get him on campus if they want to kind of stay in the mix. I think they have some catching up to do for him right now. But a special athlete. If they're able to land him, that would be big.
Now, is he still in high school, or is this because I think is this the kid that's from Harding University or in Charlotte, North Carolina? Is that like a high school there?
Right. Yeah, that's a high school.
Okay.
In North Carolina and Charlotte. Yeah.
Okay. You just you never know with the way names are thrown out there. Well, when you look at what Alabama's doing, they seem to have an ever stretching lead on the upcoming 2019 class. But there are some guys out there that Alabama still, wants to get in on. And you're talking about potentially on the Crouch kid. But what about the big-time commitment for Georgia, Nolan Smith, a jack linebacker, one of those positions that Nick Saban seems to absolutely covet when he's recruiting? Is Alabama making any leeway with him?
Yeah, it's kind of been the same thing with Nolan Smith. I think he really enjoys the recruiting process. He's shown up at events in Alabama gear. He's come out and said Bama's pushing Georgia, and these kids like the recruiting. I think he came out on April Fool's Day and actually said he decommitted from Georgia as a joke.
Yes.
So it kind of just goes to show that he's just having fun with it all. Bama's recruiting him. We'll see what happens. Crazier things have happened, but I think he's pretty locked in with Georgia. He's been committed to them for well over a year now. Georgia obviously is treating him as a priority. They don't want to lose him. He's one of these once in a 5 or 10 year kind of kids in terms of athletic ability. Also, obviously, a really good player as well. But as far as Jack linebacker goes, Bama has 2 guys committed that can play it right now, and King Makuta and Kevin Harris. They're obviously still going after the big guys like Kayvon Thibodeau, the number 1 player in the country. He's a Jack linebacker. And then several others. I'm drawing a blank on the other names right now. It's still kind of early. But I think that one team that is still in the mix for Nolan Smith is Alabama. I think he's still certainly considering them and giving them a look. But as far as if I had to predict him flipping today, I don't think it would happen as of today.
Speaking with Hank South 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting, one last question for you, Hank. When you look at the new calendar, tomorrow starts June 1st. It starts an extremely busy time for coaches and camps and now official visits. We'll talk more detail next week and coming weeks, but what is Alabama looking like in terms of getting some of their top targets on campus for not just camps but official visits?
Yeah, it's going to be a very busy June. July, the majority of July is a dead period. You can take official visits up until, I believe, the last Wednesday of June. And so Bama, it looks like they're going to take advantage of that with the summer months, with the month of June. There's several official visits scheduled. I think looking at the calendar right now, and obviously there's camps too, so there's going to be it's going to be every day a visitor. It's going to feel like, I bet. But June 15th, that weekend, the 15th to the 17th, looks like the bigger official visitors weekend thus far. The 2 most notable guys, Nakobe Dean, the number 1 inside linebacker in the nation, big priority target, and then Daxton Hill, the number 1 safety in the nation. They're both confirmed to take officials, and several other targets you can check out on BamaOnline.com that are going to be there as well. But, yeah, we'll see kind of how this goes. I think I wrote the other day, I think it's kind of a combination of experimenting with this new calendar, the ability for coaches to have a little bit more one-on-one time with no games that weekend, and then obviously some guys that are making summer decisions, like Daxton Hill wants to make a decision in the summer. So we're kind of seeing them experiment with these official visits in the summer. They didn't do any in the spring. And I'm not sure if that was on purpose or they just didn't have guys that they could get set up on the spring, but we'll see how it goes and kind of if it gives Bama any advantages and what they will do with that going into next year.
All right, that's Hank South 247 Sports. You can follow him at Hank South 247. Go check out BamaOnline.com to find out what all he has going on. And remember, he tweets out those articles at Hank South 247. Thanks, Hank. We'll catch up with you next week.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks, man.